Hello and welcome to another edition of Up the Pilgrims. It's our 1 year anniversary, and today I am joined as ever from Stedders and from David. Hello, guys, how are you both doing?
All good, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
good. I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to it. The results are going the right way, and yeah, the podcast has just reached a milestone. I'm sure we'll delve into that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm buzzing. I can't wait to do another recording.
yeah, of course. And as at the moment of time of recording, Boston United have put out on their X stream that there could be a possible signing coming in, a striker. Now, we don't know whether it's them messing about because there's a video of Graham Coughlin scoring a great goal, I will add. And it says a new striker with a winky face. Now, are they playing with us or is there a new striker? Because obviously there is a deadline coming up. So, David, what do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know. You look at the depth that we've got. Hazel and Knowles are playing 70 minutes or 80 minutes, and the past few games, Marriott and Gale have mostly been straight swaps. Weston's been sprinkled in there and thereabouts. But do I think we need another striker? Probably not. But it's fresh legs, isn't it? And if we do end up bringing one in, I can only imagine them being a pretty decent world beating one. I couldn't imagine it's one that's going to come in and, not get much game time. Because why? We've only got 8 games to go or something like that. So they've got to come in and make a real impact quite quickly. But you could make the argument, do we need another striker? We made another signing the other night with Mr. Sloggett coming in with the departure of Woods, which we'll touch on. But
Yeah.
striker is a position where I think we're pretty confident at the moment. We're scoring goals, it's working, but maybe we just need another body in there. I don't know. Honestly, we'll see. We could find out in the next 20 minutes to half an hour what's going on, and we'll update you when we find out. So you'll get our live reaction.
Yeah, of course, we will keep an eye on that and obviously let you know as soon as we know. But Stedders, what's your take on it?
well, whoever it is, they've got to come up with a better name to beat Slogger, isn't there? Because that's a fantastic name, isn't it? What a great name, eh? It'll do some well to beat that. But yeah, similar to David, really. I can't really see how much game time this person's going to come in. It's got to be somebody that's going to make a massive impact to the squad, or um, you know, would I be wanting to unsettle them two playing up top at the minute? Probably not too much, if I'm honest, because we're getting the best out of them we've had all season, aren't we? It's a right
Yeah.
purple patch for them two at the moment. I don't think we should be doing much to upset them. So it's got to be somebody that complements them, like David said. It's got to be somebody that goes along with them, that fits into the right style of play for what we need. They've got to hit the ground running. We've got eight wars and 8 cup finals coming up, haven't we? So they've got to be ready to go, whoever it is. There's no point in bringing somebody in for the sake of just doing the job that the others are doing that we've mentioned, the Marriotts and the Gales, not on the bench. So yeah, it's got to be somebody who does make an impact. But when I saw that tweet, I was like, I couldn't realise what it was. I didn't know if it was either that or if it was just, like I say, a bit tongue in cheek or what it was. But we'll find out in due time, won't we? If anything's made up there at all. But yeah, it could be like the shortest in Boston United career history. But we don't know. It could be somebody that either we know or it could be a well-known name. Because, like David said, it's got to be somebody with some kind of establishment, hasn't it? Because there's no point in getting somebody who's just going to go and sit on that bench and do the 10-minute job that we needed to. There's no point in that. It's just a waste of wages.
We've got that already, haven't we?
Exactly.
Like you say, in Gale and Marriott. So
yeah, it's got to be somebody that's going to come in and impact the squad. But only time will tell.
yeah, I did think as well. Sloggett was a stowaway from Saturday. I'm not sure if he was in the Hartlepool team or not, but did Brad Nicholson find him in his pocket or something? When he got back to Boston on Saturday night and thought, oh, I better, yeah, he might have signed while he's here.
Reflect that if that happened, we got absolutely done up for there. But no, yeah, it was an interesting one. I know Graham said that he'd been looking at him for a few weeks and he did all right when he came on. He didn't really put the foot wrong. So, it's just another body through the door, and we'll see if we add with another striker. We could be saying all this and then they're just joking about Cochrane's finishing ability. So we'll see, won't we? We can't
Yeah.
future.
No, of course not. Well, we've got a busy show anyway. Obviously, we're going to talk about the past few games in a moment. That statement from the chairman as well a few weeks back, we're going to talk about that. Martin Wood's departure, plus our favourite highlights from the first year of the podcast as well. That's all to come up in the show. But we're going to start off with the last few games, as we always do. And it started off with Yeovil Town away. Now, I don't think any of us did travel down to Yeovil that Tuesday evening. Well done to any of you that did, of course, travel down there. Very brave and a very long night, but well worth it in the end. A 3-0 victory, another Jimmy Knowles goal, Jacob Hazel and Zach Mills as well got a goal. And Stedders, how did you manage to see the game or?
Yeah, managed to catch the game itself. Yeah, so fantastic performance, weren't it? I did manage to catch one of the guys who did go down there as well. Big up to Scott Gray. I'm sure he listens in as well. Bless him. He was down there and he said they got back I think he got back in and into bed by 4 a.m. So
oh wow,
4 a.m. was the time he got back home. But he said, he said it was a long drive, as you can imagine. The facilities down there weren't the greatest either, he reckoned as well. But what a fantastic night for them travelling. I think it was 70, was it 60, 70, was it? I think it was something like that, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Brilliant. How good is that for them? Because it's just made that journey worthwhile, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to put on a performance like that and then to go on to again, we'll talk about the games that followed it and that. Like, it just was a catalyst for us, wasn't it? If anybody watching that game thinks that we didn't deserve to win it 3-0, they was watching a different game to me because we were well on top the whole game. Nullified them completely. I can't remember them having many chances, to be honest with you, at all.
No.
And I do remember watching their manager's reaction afterwards as well. He was not a happy bunny at all. Not a happy bunny because also that night as well, I think it was Frank Noble. It was that night when that was all released about the player that wanted to leave them as well and go to Gateshead.
That's right.
He's now done, isn't he?
I was going to say he's now gone.
But he was fuming, weren't he? He was teething. But a fantastic night for that travelling army. And yeah, look at the run it put us on. So yeah, which we'll talk about. But I'm sure David would agree. It was a top quality performance, that one.
Yeah, one for the memories. It was a real quality game. You know, we haven't really seen much flair and attacking prowess from Boston, but we just had freedom. Yes, the goals were probably helped in by a couple of mistakes here and there. You know, I remember the centre half just trying to pass it back to the other one, and Dylan Hill doing well, pressing as he was, and wins it back and just slots it across to Hazel. He just fires into an empty net. Stone couldn't do anything. I think Stone actually had a decent game for Yeovil. He made a couple of good saves, a few worldies. Shame he couldn't do that when he was at us, but he was actually their captain as well, which I thought was interesting. How he's literally just come in, and he's a few weeks now, and he's already the captain at the club, which says a little bit probably about how Yeovil's run as a football club. I know the fans aren't particularly happy with the way it's structured at the moment. I believe they're on like some sort of 40 signings or something. That's going to break Craig Elliott's records. So it's going to take its toll on the team. And they looked like a team of individuals. And that night, they were just unlucky that we were too good for them. We were playing through them, knocking it about, nice little pretty moves, little phases, and we just took our chances and we come away with 3 points. But it was a really, really good win to actually see and watch because, there's not been many like that where we haven't really had to fight. And it was just literally all Boston. Probably didn't make a good game for a neutral because, I can't remember Yeovil having a shot on target. But, I was happy as Larry, to be honest with you. So, and we built on it. And that's the best thing. We got the 3 points and we moved on to the next one. And we did the same.
Yeah, of course. And next was another away game. There's been many away games this past month. And this time it was down to Essex and to Braintree Town. It was a Saturday afternoon. And 1,077 watched us win 1-0 with Keaton Ward getting a goal after 16 minutes. Of course, we were all there as well. An interesting ground, that one. The facilities, not the best, really, I will say, as we all know. But yeah, we ground out an important victory, didn't we, David?
Yeah, just what I was saying about pretty football. It was not pretty football this Saturday. Oh, I can tell you that for sure. It was balls in the box trying to hit, their target forwards. And, when they didn't get the ball in the box, it was out on the wings and they were just trying to get as many box entries as possible. So all we had to do really was just try and nullify that threat by stopping the crosses. And when the crosses did come in, is make sure that they were got as far away from the strikers and the players in the box as possible. And we did that. We did that comfortably for about 70 minutes. It was a real dogged performance. Another total juxtaposition from that Tuesday night where we were playing pretty stuff. It was a lot more physical. A game in the past that we probably would have struggled with, in my opinion. But, since Graham's come in, we're a bit more solid. We've got a bit more nous about us. And, we just rode out, the look effectively. And we got there and we got to the 90th minute mark and we won the game thanks to a decent strike in the 15th minute, and we've had to hold on for the points. So yeah, another good win picked up.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the pitch wasn't great either, was it? You could certainly see the mounds in the pitch, if you want to call it that, or hills, or whatever you want to call it. But Stedders, how did you see it?
Yeah, very similar again to David, to be honest with you. They worked the diagonal ball well, didn't they? Trying to find the big chap up top and try and work off him a lot. You could see where it was coming. It was always 1-2 passes, diagonal ball, try and knock him down, work off his flick-ons, and try and his knock-ons down. I think they substituted their best player as well in about an hour into the game, which I found very, very odd. The guy who played out on their right wing was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he was, yes.
Yeah, one of the brothers, weren't it? I can't remember which one it was, but it was absolutely fantastic. And then when I saw his number come up, I was like the most relieved man in that stadium. I couldn't quite believe what they were doing, to be honest with you. Because he had him on toast down that side. He really did. He was brilliant that day. Very, very odd and strange. You mentioned about the ground as well. The best part we found was the beer tent, weren't it, David, behind the stand, to be honest with you. It was all right. But no, great travelling.
High prices.
Great travelling. Army as well, which was good to see in that open terraced away end, weren't it? You can tell why they've picked up quite a few points at home. I think it's very much a home kind of ground for them, isn't it? Because like you say, the pitch wasn't great. It suits their style of football. It's quite a tight ground as well, isn't it? It's you're quite on top of the players, aren't you? There,
that's right.
You know what I mean. So I think I can see why they've picked up lots of points there. But if everybody wants to use the term smash and grab, you could use that a little bit, I suppose. But yeah, yes and no. I thought we created good chances on the day, actually, as well. I think we had 2 or 3 good chances. But there was one definitely in the first half that we should have nailed. I think it was Jacob Hazel again, wasn't it? I think he was 1-on-1, wasn't he, early on in the game? I think I saw
I believe
the
he was
again.
actually, yes.
And just couldn't square it away. If that goes in, it's a different game. But Keaton Ward comes into the side, and big up to Keaton Ward because, again, he's played a lot of games for us recently, hasn't he? And come back into the side and done really well. And he was a standout performer this day, I thought, as well as getting his goal, along with the 2 centre halves who were absolute mustard, weren't they? Zach Mills again and Connor Teal, that big guy. I mean,
they had a great game.
They did, didn't they? Fantastic. And you need to they're the players who need to have a good game down there, aren't they, to get anything from it? So, but it was another 3 points on the board. We all came out with another victory. Well, we are staying up. We're just about started then, weren't they? But it's belief and confidence, isn't it? And then again, we're going to go on to the other games that we rolled on to. Momentum's a massive thing in football, isn't it? And at this point, we're just starting to get them wheels turning, weren't we? And just starting to get going. So
exactly, we were. And just to sort of talk about Braintree, and you were saying about a home team and whatever. Was it this past week? They've actually just beaten York City as well, 2-1, or the last week at home. Which York are going for. I mean, I know we beat York as well, but obviously they beat York, twice. But obviously they beat York at home as well, 2-1, and York going for promotion as well. So a massive victory for Braintree. After that defeat to us as well. So they carry on that momentum as well for them to try and lift them out, but. For us, we went on to Rochdale and another Tuesday night game, another travel across the country, this time to Manchester. And another victory. It was looking easy until the last 10 minutes, and then it was a bit tough. But no, I mean, Steaders, we pulled it out the bag again.
Yeah, we sure did. Rag pudding is the
Oh.
phrase. What you need to chat about, Dave, maybe before we chat about any football. So, so we usually go to the services on the way to the game, and we usually get the usual kind of stuff, mate. But we was told by somebody you must try the chip shop. We're like, okay, then we'll try it, and it's like directly next to the ground, so it's backed up onto the stand there, and it's like somebody's front room. Like somebody's front room. It's like a front of house kind of chippy, like running real like village old school chippies. And it says, "Oh, try this thing." And they have this thing on the menu called rag pudding. I've never heard of it before.
I haven't.
And me and David tried it. It's like mincemeat inside of best way to describe it is mincemeat in kind of a wrap. Very odd, very strange.
Okay.
Yeah, but it tastes nice enough.
It's like steamed pudding.
Yeah.
It's like steamed pudding. Really nice.
Okay.
So that was a good starter.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if we go next season to Rochdale, we can try and get another rag pudding then.
Rag pudding. So big up to that chip shop because it was absolutely banging. It's one of the best chippies I've had in years. But going on to the football, well, what can you say about that? 3-0 up at Rochdale, and we're like, what is going on? You know. I'm like looking at that scoreboard saying, will we ever see this again? 3-0 up on their patch. Their fans were not happy. People were starting to walk out at this point. You could see them going out in their droves. But at that point as well, we looked dead on our feet after them 3 goals, to be honest with you. We looked so tired. It looked like the miles and the trips were starting to get a little bit to us, which you could tell. But they dug in so well to get them 3 points on there. And what a fantastic morale boost. And what was great about that was the atmosphere. I think the fans played a massive part in that result as well, because I could tell they were getting nervous. You could tell they were getting nervy. Once they scored their first, you always knew the second was coming. But then it would seem like the longest last. I think it was 86 minutes or 87th minute they scored on. The last 8 or 9 minutes seemed like absolutely forever. It seemed like time just almost stood still. But it was great banter against the fans there as well, David, weren't it? It was right next to him. Me and David were literally, where they put the little barrier thing between you. Me and David were right next to him, and there was a group of kids there, and they were giving us loads of grief the whole game. So you can imagine what we was like when we went 3-0 up. They were not happy at all either. So,
I bet.
But credit due to them, because it was always good. It was good fun banter, and as David will explain, it was a night to remember, really.
Yeah, and David, apart from the rag pudding, what was your highlights?
What was my highlights? Well, this one was a nice early trip for me. So I had an appointment from that's what school thought anyway. So I had to go to Jakeman's. I got on the bus, obviously, soaked it all in. Really,
you had a cold, didn't you? That's why you had to go to the Jakeman's.
I had a doctor's appointment that day. So I had to go to Manchester and get it sorted out. So yeah, it was all good, and I was expecting it to be, we've got a decent results in the past few games. Can we go and replicate it today against, a top 7 side? Because that's what Rochdale are. They're a big ex-Football League club, recent as well. They've got a decently large fan base, although that day that not many showed up, probably about the same attendance as ours, which I thought was actually quite a poor show from them. But
yeah,
you can see their frustration certainly in the ground when we went 3-0 up, and there must have been maybe about 10 or 15% left when we went 3-0 up. Sorry, so that's just me guessing, but there were certainly quite a few people not very happy with the result, and it was just an amazing performance for us to go 3-0 up away from home against one of the big boys, in my opinion, in the division. Oh, it's amazing! It was so good, and then the goals come in at the end, and you start to get a little bit edgy. But we ground out the points. And like Tom said, I think this is where a little bit of tiredness started to creep in a little bit. And, the players were definitely showing that on the pitch. But we got the three goals in the first half. It was enough to take the points. And we certainly came away from Rochdale a happier team that night, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, it must have been good to see Hazel and Knowles both on the score sheet as well. Both the top strikers, in the team, and both getting on the score sheet, especially Knowles. I think he was getting desperate for another goal, wasn't he? He'd only scored the one, and he really needed that, didn't he, Steaders?
He sure did, and it was two contrasting goals on the night as well, weren't it? The first one from Jacob Hazel was pouncing on a mistake again from their defensive and goalkeeper, who couldn't decide what to do with the ball between the two of them, could he? But right place, right time, and that is sometimes what we need. You know what I mean? We've saw ugly goals this season. Sounds really silly when you look back. If you look back at the goals we've actually scored this season, most of them have been like pretty decent strikes or moves. Isn't it nice to go and get one that's a bit ugly and a bit, you know what I mean, a bit. Because we haven't had many of them this season, have we? When you think really low,
Not really, no.
So it's good that we're starting to score different types of goals, aren't we? I think Graham Coughlin mentioned in one of his interviews as well, not after one of these games. They're coming from set pieces now. We're scoring from them. We're coming from movement now off the ball. We're coming from pressing, the high press, because this is the kind of game he wants to do. All of a sudden, we're now ticking all these boxes. Do you know what the one we haven't ticked, though, guys, is a penalty. We haven't had a penalty, scored it.
That is so ridiculous, isn't it?
We've got two this season and missed them both. So
only two as well is wild at this stage.
Absolutely crazy. But no, to get them guys firing at this time of the season is the best news that Boston United could have. Jimmy Knowles is a fully confidence player, isn't he? Didn't get much game time at Accrington early in the season. Looked tired, looked a bit leggy, looked a bit out of sorts when he first came on this loan move. And all of a sudden now, we're just starting to see shades of Jimmy Knowles of old, aren't we? Working off that line, working off that wing, working hard to get something out of it. And him and Hazel just started to gel beautifully now up there. And I'm praying to the gods that summer comes around and Jimmy considers coming back to Boston United, because I would have him back in an absolute heartbeat in the summer, to be honest with you, because he's the kind of player that you could build that front line around, and he will get you good goals, good assists. I think his stats were on Christian James the other day, and for the amount of games he's actually played, I think it's about 60 odd games, and he's got like 20, 28, 29 goals and assists. It's quite a remarkable achievement, to be honest with you, the amount of games he's played. It's a lot anyway. Don't completely quote me on that.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very high ratio, which I think a goal or an assist like 1.7 per game or something like that, or something. It's very, very impressive.
That's good, yeah.
It's very impressive, whichever it is. So, but yeah, he would be somebody I would be, one of my first names on that. If you can prize him away from Accrington, because let's face it, we'll go on to in a minute about the full-time football. Not going to be a lot of difference on offer, apart probably from wages. That's the only thing, isn't it, about your weekly wage.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to be the same now, isn't it? So but,
exactly.
Yeah, to get them guys firing, mate, is only good news for us.
It is, of course. And the attendance at Rochdale was actually 1,974. So that is actually very poor for a team like Rochdale. I remember going years ago to Rochdale to watch a league game, and definitely 3,000 to 4,000 there then. And so the attendances have really gone down there, and it's not good for them really at the moment. So they'll be looking to try and bounce back to up the league. And go on, Steaders.
One of the sides was completely closed, and me and David asked the steward. We said, "Why one of the side stands completely closed?" And we asked the steward. We said, "Why isn't that open?" And he said, "Costing." He said it would cost them too much. He reckons you have to put a steward on every exit, and to do that, it's just not cost effective for a game like that. And it's a beautiful stand, isn't it, David? The one
it's nice.
Probably one of the better ones out of all four of them, to be honest with you. But very, very odd decision. Very strange decision. But yeah, like you say, ended that night. But I don't think anybody could have seen the 3-0 up that we went up to, like you say. And it certainly seemed like a lot less than 1,900 when that third goal went in.
I bet it did. But then we did go on to last Saturday. I believe it was last Saturday. And Hartlepool away. And the wheels did finally fall off after all the wins. But I wouldn't. The players looked tired. I watched the game from home. The players looked dead on their feet, and as much as they tried, I think we all knew it was going to happen at some point. Maybe not the biggest score as it happened, but it did. And David, not a good afternoon, was it?
No, definitely not. It was the goals that we conceded are so poor. You watch them back, and there's at least 4 or 5 times where it's, they've got a chance to clear and we just can't get away. It takes that Medine goal was awful to watch. Takes a deflection, I think, off Cam Green. He luckily doesn't get there, and it just rolls into the bottom corner. Dizawuve's goal as well. That was a bit. It just turns in the box and shoots, comes off a foot and goes in. Even people say that Dizawuve is a decent striker for the level. I don't think. Me and Tom were discussing this. I don't think he had a pure strike that game, and he still sometimes somehow manages to put it in the bottom corner. And I think he just works off his build and his muscle and just hits it. There was one chance where he turned inside, just trying to get in the 6-yard box, turns and shoots further away from goal than he actually was. I don't know what he was playing at, but it still went in, and it sort of, it was just an awful afternoon. Really, you looked at the chances that we conceded. I have to say though, big props to Cam G in goal. He made a couple of great saves, even for the last one. That he made a good save and it comes out on the edge to Myler and he just slams it in. Cam Gregory can't do anything there. He was quite let down by his defenders there, and I think it might have been the fact that we were leggy after all these good results in a row, or it could be the fact that Coughlin got the team wrong. Some of the substitutions, I don't think Coates had a very good game when he came on either, to be honest with you. I don't think he made the desired impact. So, I think we did quite a fair bit wrong that day. But, we'd lost loads of games this season. It was inevitable that we were going to lose the game again. It's just about how quickly we got back on it and we got back winning again. And it didn't take too long in the end, didn't it? But I know we're focusing on this game first. So, it was such a shame to go up there with all that positivity, decent number of travelling support as well, and to a decent ground actually. I quite enjoyed my day there. There was a nice little ultra section in the right hand corner, if you call them that, for Hartlepool. They made plenty of noise. We were quite loud as well. So yeah, it was an all right day out in the end. Everything bar the result, I thought.
How cold was it, David? Quickly, was it cold there or?
I didn't. You know what? I wasn't that fussed about that. I was more fussed about watching the football. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that windy, to be honest. It did rain a little bit, but apart from that,
you're lucky. Yeah, because I've been there before, and it's one of the coldest grounds I've been to. That one, Hartlepool. So, Stedders, how did you see the game?
Yeah, that chap turned up for them again, didn't he? Is it Mancini?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, the guy's a cheat code, isn't he? Honestly, that's what I put on one of their posts. He really is, and he seems to only be fit for our games. I think he hasn't played many games between the away game with us and the home game. They brought him on at our place at half time, and he was absolute stellar, wasn't he? Well, he started the game this time, and instead he was stellar for 70 minutes instead of 45, which is fantastic, isn't it, for us? And he linked up really well with the guy who got their man of the match on the left as well, didn't he? Who was a pest as well. He was fantastic all afternoon. I can't remember what his name was, but on the left-hand side, their winger, very tricky guy. Scored one of their goals as well, but can't remember exactly what his name was. But weirdly enough, we talk about all the chances and that lot and the bad defending. Hazel scores that lob, it's a different game. He scores that lob and it goes in. That's a different game altogether.
That was a good chance.
We get something from that game. Trust me, I think we go on to win that game, possibly. If we can put that away, if he puts that away, and then we get that crowd against them, completely again momentum with Boston, and the way that the games have gone before, you could just we didn't deserve. Don't get me wrong. On the day, we deserved absolutely nothing. But what we did deserve is that chance. We did deserve that chance to do that, and he made it for himself, didn't he? Because the keeper came rushing out, didn't he? And Hayes just went onto it and thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a go. And it was so close as well, wasn't it? It wasn't that far away. I think somebody said on a more true pitch or a 3G pitch, that goes in. It just so happens that the bounce of the ball where it was just made it go, and I mean, just inches wide of that post. If that goes in there, like I say, and again, good character to get back in the game at 1-0 down up there as well. Because a lot of teams can go up 1-0 down up there and buckle a lot and go 2 and 3 quite easily. We got back into the game at 1-0. But I do agree with David with the substitutions. It just didn't work that day. He usually gets them spot on, but it just seemed like the substitutions didn't work. We didn't have anything left in the legs. We looked very leggy. and very much like the miles have finally caught up with us that day, which you can expect. But what a phenomenal effort! 9 points out of 12 out of the last 4 away games, including that, we would have absolutely snapped your hand off. I think we did a pod, didn't we? We said 7 be lovely. And so 9 was way above our expectations, wasn't
exactly.
it? So be happy with what you've got and not what you might have had. I expect Hartlepool to be much better next season as well. From what I saw, they're a very good side. They can get playing again and keep the likes of Mancini fit. They'll be up and about that top 8 next time around. I think their fans deserve that as well. I think they're a good fan base. They're well followed up there. And to be honest with you, it's been a very disappointing for them.
They've got a big problem with the chairman as well, haven't they? Apparently, the chairman's selling up, and which the fans are pleased about. Apparently, so I've heard. But just quickly going to the game, Cameron Green got injured quite early on, didn't he? And he managed to play on, and obviously in the second half, Kieran Coates did come on for Cameron Green. I mean, do you think that was the right decision to keep Cameron Green going, or do you think maybe Kieran Coates should have maybe come on earlier and might have got into the game a bit quicker? David?
It's 2 sides of the coin, isn't it? You can't really tell. If Cam Green, the fullbacks, J Rowe, are absolutely so important to this system.
Yeah.
They are the outlets. They're putting the ball in the box. If one's attacking the ball, it's J Rowe normally at the far post, and that comes from across from the left from Cam Green. So they have to complement each other. And this system worked at Newport for Graham. He kept him in the Football League for a few seasons, and he did quite well with it. Getting an FA Cup tie against Manchester United in the 3rd round. So it's done decent, and it's been doing decently good for Boston. Well, it's been doing amazing if you compare it to the to the results that we had earlier on in the season. So I think an injury to one of your fullbacks is going to be really, really hard. That's the last thing that we want at this point in time. If J Rowe were to go out injured, it's nice to know that Coates was there, but I just don't think he's got enough and as much quality as the other 2 at the moment, and they certainly complement each other very well. But then you don't want Cam Green to get injured, so he's maybe forced his hand a little bit. I don't think you can really tell. It's just that the fullback positions are so important under Coughlin, and they're going to be so involved in the play. And maybe Coates hasn't had that rub of the green, that little bit of luck, a little few games to actually get going. Because the games that we have seen of him so far, I think he's been okay. He's not been world beating like J Rowe has from right back, but I think he's done a decent job. But I don't think you can really, compare that to him having to come on.
No. Steaders, how did you see it?
Yeah, like you say, I very much agree again. But the one substitution I didn't really get was the Brad Nicholson one, because anything that did come good from us, that was very strange. I didn't see why he subbed him off. He's been absolutely. I'm not saying it because he's behind me either, but no, he's been unplayable at times since coming back in, hasn't he? Unbelievable how much And I think we did mention it a little bit on the last one, but it's to come for the lad to not play football at Scunthorpe, to then be not in the side, to not even making a bench, to not playing football, to then come straight back into a side. Of course, he knows the surroundings, he knows the team, that always helps. But then to hit the ground running in the National League, the league above that he was playing anyway, that a lot of fans questioned him. Let's get this right. A lot of fans questioned him if he could do it at this level. A lot of people did. And he's come in and he's proved every single one of them critics won for us this season so far. And do you know what? If we could, again, wherever we end up at the end of this season, if we can get his signature again for next season, I think that's only a plus for Boston United and a bonus for me. He looks like this is his home. This is his home, and that's it. He's very much moulded here, isn't he? There's a reason why he comes back 3 times, isn't there? You don't go back to a club 3 times unless you have a proper connection with them, do you? So big up to Brad. But yeah, that was the one that really got me that day. I could see why he did a few of the others. Like you say, and Jacob Hazel getting his shirt pulled and after about 30 seconds, and nothing given by the referee. And then not just that, but that referee that afternoon then kept him off the pitch for 2.5 minutes, which was so frustrating from a fan's point of view, because we're there shouting for him to get back on the pitch, and he still wouldn't let him back on the pitch. It just didn't seem like anything went our way that day, did it? And we're gonna have days like that, as we imagined. But yeah, substitutions. I just think Graham didn't get them right that day. He might have had more of a mind on the game on Tuesday. We don't know.
Yeah, and I think if Brad Nicholson had joined a few weeks before, or a few months rather before, maybe Player of the Year contention may have been there. I think, but don't know. I mean, he's changed the season, so who knows? You know, he's one of the reasons we've turned it around, but time will tell on that. But we'll go on to Tuesday just gone because yeah, we had take two. We had Southend United arrive at the Jakeman's Community Stadium, and this time there was no fog, and the game was played for the full 90 minutes, and a fantastic victory for Boston. After a bit of a dodgy first half, things came together in the second half, and a 3-0 victory. Steaders, were you at the game? Did you see it? Or
I was actually listening on the radio to work for this one, but it didn't stop my
oh
excitement
no,
when the goals went in. That's for sure. It was fantastic, to be honest with you. Yeah, for what I heard of it, but yeah, I've managed to watch some highlights back and get the general consensus on the game. It sounded like they were the better side first half. You can see
yeah,
why they passed the ball well, but we managed just to contain them really, and then came out second half, made a few little tweaks, and got our first goal with Frankie Maguire, who again. Isn't it great as well when players are coming in that they're starting to impact games as well? So we're finding that as well now. When Coughlin's making changes, the guys that are coming in are making effects on these games. So Frankie Maguire comes in for Keaton Ward, who's probably gassing after playing so many games in a row after not playing himself. But Maguire's come in and had an absolute stellar performance. What a fantastic goal for that first one as well. Just to lift, like I say, and it almost felt like the whole crowd just lifted from that and gained momentum from that. The second goal coming in quick succession as well. Jimmy Knoll with a fortuitous effort underneath the goalkeeper, an effort the goalkeeper has to save. He has to save that, but it just trickles in under his body. We don't care how they go in. We don't mind at all. And then Zach Mills popping up, the prolific goal scorer that is, could find himself playing up front soon. To smash it in to the opposite side of the corner and send that away fans, which was in a great number as well, but they weren't very happy with their performance, that's for sure. But there was a lot of them, and you've got to give them credit for that. That's a hell of an away support for a
yeah,
Tuesday night game. That is brilliant from them. But the one thing that we do mention throughout this game, I'm sure David will mention as well, the atmosphere. It seemed like the atmosphere was up from minute one on Tuesday. And it seemed like this ground needed that game. I mentioned this again in comments somewhere on social media over the week. We had it with the York game on the Saturday. The York game on that Saturday just felt like a different atmosphere to any other Saturday we'd had down the JCS up till that point. Big game
yeah.
atmosphere, big result against a big side. Tuesday seemed to be that tick box for that one for me. I think that's probably the best Tuesday night performance we've had down there, personally.
I would probably say so. Yeah,
You know what I mean? In terms of performance, in terms of opposition, in terms of result, I think that could be right up there with the best one at the JCS. And if we can again build on that, come to Sutton on Saturday, which we'll preview in a bit. Momentum. We said it earlier in this pod. Momentum is massive, and it's with Boston at the minute. It's there. It's such a big thing in football. Confidence and momentum, and he has got them going at the minute, hasn't he? So as long as that continues, I'm all the forever the optimist.
yeah, absolutely. And David, of course, you were there. How did you see it?
Well, yeah, I was on the radio for this one, and I'd just like to touch on what Tom said about the atmosphere. You know, I could hear it loud and clear through my headsets. I had to turn it down actually because you couldn't really hear myself and Mr. Martin Hallam over the noise in there. But it's it was good to see a lovely 3 points for Boston. You know, the first half it was odd because Southend were the better side in my
They were
opinion.
by far.
By pretty far, yeah. They did have a few chances, but they didn't make the most of them. And Boston just came out second half a different team. And, that 5-minute spell where we got those 2 goals just sort of set the night up for us. It won the 3 points. And then that third one going in, it was just amazing to see, especially at home in front of the home fans. The home fans who really haven't been treated. Some people aren't lucky enough to go to all these places across the country and follow Boston. So for them not to have a result in a few weeks and not to have a home game in a few weeks, it's good that they can come and replicate a performance there's been with Boston so far away from home and turn that into a home performance. So yeah, it was just a good night, another good one, and where are we now in the table? We're only in the relegation zone, 21st on goal
Yep.
difference. You know,
40 points.
we have every chance now, and that's the thing. Like this past month and a half, it's 12 points to nothing. You know, we've given ourselves every chance to do it, and when the belief was all but gone in early January or something like that, it's certainly back now. And whatever happens, you know, we've put up a good fight, but I still think, you know, we stand probably the best chance out of any team escaping that bottom four right now. Fylde are on a dismal run of form. Dagenham are starting to pick up a few points here and there, but they're still not doing very well. We're one of the more informed sides in the division. So carry on as we are. It's staying up is a real possibility. And you know, it's never boring, is it, Boston? Some things always happen.
It's not. It's not. I mean, just having a look at the stats from the other night as well, and it's actually incredible to hear the stats. The ball possession, 28% for Boston, Southend 72%. Total shots, 6 for Boston, 16 for Southend. Shots on target, 3 for Boston, 5 for Southend. Crosses, 5 for Boston, 30 for Southend. 5 corner kicks for Boston, 9 for Southend. 31 throw-ins, Boston, 34 for Southend. 9 fouls to Boston, 7 Southend, with 3 yellow cards for Boston and none for Southend. But I mean, some of them early stats, the total shots, the ball possession, crosses, it's incredible, isn't it? It's to say, you know, to see that we won the game 3-0. You see the score 3-0 and you hear them stats. I mean, David, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's the only stat that matters is putting the ball in the back of the net.
It's the goals.
That's what
It
we were
is.
saying on the radio. They can have all the possession they like, and probably
Yep.
majority of that comes from them sitting. You know, we were sitting off. I think it was interesting to see how we were sitting off that game. You know, we'd used the press effectively until the Hartlepool game, and we'd stopped using it. So I mentioned on the radio that probably might have been fatigue coming into it. You know,
Yeah.
players running up and down the pitch isn't going to help, is it? So we just sort of sat in a little bit and gave them time and space on the ball. But, you know, we had every man marked and they didn't really get, you know, I think Southend were pretty unlucky not to score the goal that was offside. But I think that was because he was impeding Cam Gregory. But, you know, like I said, Boston just took their chances on the night. What a strike from Maguire. Hayes, the goalkeeper for Southend, probably should have done a bit better. He was a bit flappy, wasn't he? He let a few...
Yeah.
weren't clangers, but he probably should have done better. On another night, that's probably 1 or 2 instead of 3. It sort of flattered us a little bit. But, you know, that is a Graham Coughlin performance, 100% clean sheet,
Yeah.
low possession, low shots. You know, we'd like to be creating chances, but, you know, he'll be all for a 1 or 2-0 win with them having most of the ball. But as long as we score and we get the 3 points, I don't think he honestly cares.
That's the main thing. And it's crazy, actually, because, well, I sit in the stadium near the away bench and, you know, we were giving it large to them all through the game, as you do. And when they scored that goal, their manager sort of turned around to us and was like, yes. You know, and then obviously it was offside, so we obviously gave them a bit more. So that was fun, actually, I must admit. But no, Boston, as I say, the Great Escape is most certainly on now. We'll talk about Southend United very soon, that we've got coming up. But I just want to go on to the David Newton statement that he made a couple of weeks ago, not long actually after our last podcast, which is typical, really, that it came out. But he obviously thanks the fans and everything. And the main reason for the statement was that they've decided that next season the club is going to go full time. And if I believe it is whether they go down or whether they stay in the National League. They obviously want to get back up to the National League if they are relegated. I mean, it shows obviously the club have got a healthy budget, and you know, a lot of people have doubted David Newton, you know, this season, saying, you know, did he really want to go up? Did he not? I think there was a lot of talk, especially earlier in the season. But I think this really answers them critics, you know, that obviously he's in it for the long term. He does want success for the club, and he's going to do everything possible, isn't he, Steaders?
Yeah, really interesting statement, weren't it? Me
Hmm.
and David actually chatted about this as well, about the timing of it. I thought the timing was impeccable. Boston United have got the timing of their statements and releasing of information to a T, to an absolute T, because that was exactly when they needed a bit of momentum. We're just starting to get the ball rolling, weren't we? All of a sudden, a big news like this is only going to make fans' ears prick up more and want to come and watch a bit more, isn't it? So it was, sometimes it's about the time, and it's not about what he's saying; it's about when he's saying it. And it was only positive, wasn't it? It was positive news
It
for us.
was.
It's going to be fantastic as well. What I really liked about it was the mention about the housing. Actually, I really like that little point that he put in
Yeah.
there, that he's going to house some of these players as well, because that just opens up a whole new avenue, doesn't it, of players? Cam Gregory, we all know he lives in Shrewsbury. Well, that's not 2 meters up, 2 miles up the road, is it? If you're then going to build him an house, and say you and your family can live here for all week or full time if you want to come and play for us, how much more of an incentive is that to him or to other players that want to
Exactly.
come and play for us? It just opens up a whole new avenue, doesn't it, of players? The full time thing has always been over our heads a little bit, hasn't it? Hybrid, I think, worked to an extent, but you don't get. I think Coughlin said it as well in one of his interviews. He doesn't get as much contact time with the players as he would like. So, how much as well of this statement has got Graham Coughlin in mind as well? That's the other question we can ask
I
ourselves.
wondered that. Yeah.
Did you know what I mean? How much has he got in there as well? But no, it was a fantastic statement. It was well written, as David Newton always does, and well put out by the club. But yeah, it's only positive news for Boston United fans. This, it opens you up a whole new avenue of new players, a whole new negotiations with the players that we think can do full-time football. And there's probably a few of them we would like to name right now that we think deserve a shot at full-time football. Some of these young lads probably dream of playing full-time football. Some probably exactly the opposite end of the scale, don't like the idea of it, want to still carry on doing their part-time gig of a job or something else on the side, or spending more time with their family. Completely fine. So we are going to find now, though, because we've made this statement, it is great news, but if it doesn't suit some of our current crop.
Yeah, of course. And David, what's your take on it?
Yeah, it was refreshing. We haven't really heard anything. I think it was also it also needs to be mentioned. I'm going off my head here, but it said something about the fourth stand and how the funding has nearly been secured for that.
Yes,
So
apparently, and I think it said in the program this week that they're hoping to get some information, or hoping to start it, I believe, in the next couple of months, if I'm
wow.
right.
So there
So
we go.
yeah, go on. Sorry, yeah, go on.
It's only going to make it. It's only going to make the club more sustainable. A gym in there, I believe. Like another bar for away fans. Ellen does is rammed on a match day, isn't it? So
It is.
So for another bar to relieve that pressure, and it's another income stream, isn't it? It's just about making the club as sustainable as it can be, and then only putting in money into it where we have to. Any football chairman's gonna lose money. They know that, but it's just about trying to make the club the most money as possible and make it work the best it can. And this fourth stand is really gonna, it's gonna elevate the position that the club's in to operate. And our budgets will be higher. Hopefully, it's up to them what they do with the money. It's up to the board. But you think in turn, if we were getting more money, they'd hopefully put a bit more back in the playing squad. But it's not just about that, though, is it? It's about the education side, about the youth teams, and everything. The club's got a foot in many doors at the moment, and they're all making positive impacts, and they're all money income streams. So it's good to see. On the statement, like Tom said, I thought it was absolutely impeccably, deployed at the right time, getting everybody up, getting a bit of positivity around the camp, and getting people trying to go back and watch Boston again. And some of these players that want to be playing for full time, it's going to give them even more of an incentive to, put that shirt on and give 110% every week.
Of course, and I recall when we spoke to Graham back in January, and he was actually saying at the time that he asked for like a gym in the stadium, didn't he? And the chairman was like, "Yep, no problem." And he said everything he asked for, the chairman was always obliging and getting it for him. So, the money's always been there. The money's always been there, ready to spend. If they need it, and obviously the finances must be pretty good now for them to be able to go, full time. I mean, I'll be honest, I'd put my hand up. I have criticised the hybrid system in the past, and I wasn't sure if it worked a lot of the time. And I was even saying, if the worst case next season we are relegated, going back to part time. But they're obviously doing the opposite and going full time, which is even better, isn't it, Steaders?
Yeah, like you say, I think the thing with hybrid is that it's such a new concept, isn't it? And not many have tried it. So, a few have tried it. There's not many hybrid setups, is there, in our league? I don't
There
think.
isn't now.
You either, there's not many part-times around either, let's be honest. Even in the National League North, how many part-times is there in there now? Can't be that many. So it's a step in the right direction. It's a move that we needed to make. But I think some people have just got very short memories. It's taken 17 years to get to this point where we can actually say we're a full-time outfit again. 17 years of regional football, 17 years of all that behind us now, that we can say again we're a full-time outfit. But that's how long it's taken for these bridges to be built again, and these boxes to be ticked to get back to where we rightly belong. Let's be honest. And fantastic to just epitomise that statement now and just finish this job off. That's the point, isn't it? Now let's get this job finished and get it done, and then go into next season as a full-time National League side. That to me is, and stick as the next Boston fan, and I will forever will be. But we're a National League side. We are a National League side, and that should be where we should be setting ourselves at. If anybody thinks we should be Football League at the minute, very wrong, very, very wrong, because we're not ready for that yet. We're not ready for that yet. Oh, we might never be ready for that again, and I really want to stress that point. But to me, we are National League level. We are a National League side. We should be playing full-time football in the National League, and that is where Boston should pit themselves at the minute. We are just starting to, hopefully, like I say, fingers crossed, these next 8 games give us all the results that we want as fans and as followers of the club. But to me, we are playing at the level we should be.
Yeah, of course. And if a new bar goes into the new stand, what will that one be called? I'm just coming up with some names. Coughlin's. Yes, Coughlin's. Bastocks. I'm just trying to. If any listeners or watchers have got any ideas, then do send us a message and let us know what your ideas for a name of a new bar. Send your entries. So there you go. So good, all good news. It's coming out. We're playing well at the moment. Like you say, the statements come out. Everything's looking really good at the minute. Let's just hope that continues. But let's just move on, because we did have a departure this past week as well. And that is of Martin Woods, who's been captain, has managed for a few games as well, but has decided that he wasn't he wasn't wanted at the club, would you say? Well, not by some person anyway, by the looks of the statement. But Graham Coughlin obviously said, I think he's come out and said that Martin wasn't happy at not being chosen to be in the squad, and so Martin Woods has decided to leave the club now and maybe look for pastures new. So David, what did you think when you saw that message come up?
We've talked about well-deployed statements. This one was sort of, trying to burn the house down, I think, throwing his toys out the pram a little bit. I thought, for a man of Martin Woods' experience and intelligence, that he might, ride the ship out for a bit. But if he's not happy doing what he wants at the moment with the game time that he's getting, so be it. And he's allowed to leave. He's free to go, and he can do what he likes. I know he's got something going on at Doncaster Academy set up. So if he probably is doing that. I don't know, but he probably is doing that at the moment solely. So it was, I don't know, it's a bit bitter, wasn't it, really? But you have to, I think I agree with Coughlin. What is he, 39, verging on 40? He's not been playing many games. The games that he has been playing, he's got injured in, or he's a warrior, and he has done well, and he'll always be remembered as part of that team that got us promoted to the National League. But you just got to think our wages will be better used elsewhere at the moment than a player that's going to play 10 minutes, get injured, and then get to sit on the recovery bench for a few weeks. So it's a hard one. It was sad to see
It
him
is.
go, but I think our money is better spent elsewhere. And we bought Sloggett in, didn't it? I'm assuming with that
Of
money.
course.
So
Yeah.
Woods definitely tried to leave a bit on him, try and stick some on him. But I agree with Cochran. I think he's in the right there. I just wonder how the dressing rooms coped with such a big personality leaving. But so far, it's not been too bad because we haven't lost a game with him not being there. So yeah,
No.
it was sad to see him go, but.
I mean, look at next season as well. Looking ahead to next season, and we were just saying it actually with going full time. The chances are, he's 39 years old. He's not going to be. He's already got, like you say, a part-time or a job at Doncaster Rovers Academy. He's not going to probably play very often as a 39-year-old in the league for Boston, is he? So maybe that was in his head as well, that maybe going full time, they probably wouldn't keep him on. Steaders, do you think that played a part as well, maybe?
Yeah, probably you're spot on there as well. But I'm the biggest Martin Woods advocate whilst he was here. He was fantastic with us media lot. He's been fantastic with the fans. He took on the job as well for a couple of games for us. I don't think the actual Martin Woods partnership has been spoiled here. It's just the Graham Coughlin Martin Woods one by the sounds of it to me. He's the kind of guy that I would see actually back in a coaching kind of role later on down the line at some point, or even a manager's job, because he's that kind of guy, isn't he, that you could see. But like I said, I'm the biggest Martin Woods advocate, but I just think that statement and timing of it was just very, very wrong, wasn't it? It was everything wasn't great about it. It was late on that Friday night before the Hartlepool game, wasn't it? I think is that right?
Yes, it was actually.
Yeah,
Yes, I think it was. I believe.
Night, yeah, and to do that so many hours before a game as well, it just didn't sit well with me. Where it was all at, and people were saying, "Oh, yeah, but why ain't the club issued stuff like this?" You got to remember, this guy could still be under contract. Our player as we sit here, he could be. We wouldn't know that, would we? He could still be contracted with, and he just said, "Turn up for the next 7-8 weeks, then, mate, and see how you get on." It's such a shame to see it end the way it did, to be honest with you, because, like you say, he's had I think he's been a fantastic advocate for us in terms of foot. He's been. We know that, but when he's played, he's been stellar. He's been very good inside that midfield. We've looked a better side most of the time when he's been there. But then again, have we remembered him the last 3 or 4 weeks? Really, because he's not the one we've been talking about, because he's not been involved. And he seems to be the kind of guy that wants to be involved. Where do I see Martin Woods going from here? If I was him, I'd either go back up north and go to a lower league Scottish side, finish my playing career up there with a season up there, or probably more likely Midlands kind of team. I could see him at like an Alfreton, that kind of level. Finish off his. Honestly, he came from Brackley, so he's well into clubs like that. Very similar setup to them. See him end him somewhere like Alfreton, Midlands, and just seeing his playing days out there, because he hasn't got many left in him. So thanks to Martin Woods, it could have ended better than it could, but I think it's the last we've seen of him at Boston.
Yeah, and it's such a shame. I mean, when he did play, especially sort of last season, you could tell when when he wasn't playing, we really did miss him last season. He held that midfield together, and he did in some games this season when he played. To be fair to him, he still had a good time in front of him. So it is a difficult one. Like I said, I'm looking ahead to next season, and I'm thinking, well, he probably was one of the ones that wouldn't stay anyway. So that maybe he's just done it early. There's a few other players I can probably see not staying next season as well, and it'd be interesting to see how things go. The first one out, but I've just checked and we've still not had any news, by the way, just an update. Still no news at the moment, so which is just typical. As we finish the podcast today, there's probably going to be a new signing announced, so watch this space. But upcoming games, so we've got 8 games left. Can we do it? There's 21 points up for grabs. We're 10 points behind the target of what we were talking about, 50 points. I mean, do you still think 50 points, David? Do you think 50 points is the target, or do you think it's a bit higher now?
I don't know. It could be. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think it might even be lower. You look at the games against Wealdstone, they're going to be so important. We have to win those. Those are
Well, they've been
more.
picking up points, haven't they,
They have.
Wealdstone? They've been
They have.
picking up points, and unexpectedly, unfortunately.
They're going to be must wins. I think it's going to be lower because I think that I looked at Christian James. He produced a little graphic with all the 6-pointers on, and lots of teams play each other in and around the bottom few. I think Dagenham have the hardest running. They've played. I don't envy them at all. They've got Barnet and York. I think they've got Rochdale as well. So
Wow.
it's going to be hard for them. But it's possible for Boston, and we've got the momentum, and that's what matters. It's probably going to be around. I'm going to make a prediction: 48, I reckon. So that's two wins and 2 draws, I reckon, out of the next 8. Or 3 wins is even better, obviously.
Of course. I mean, the sooner we can do it, Steaders, the sooner hopefully we can try and get that safety mark and know that we are safe. It's going to be a lot better, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the thing is now is we're not games. We're looking forward to the games now, aren't we? As fans and as podcasters and as people who follow the club. 2 months ago we were thinking we could be all sat here thinking that Saturday it could be all over. How fantastic is it that we're looking at these next 8 games as if we only have to win probably 3 to stay up. You can't tell me that team you saw out on Tuesday night is not capable of winning 3 out the next 8 games that we've got coming up. They are so capable of doing this. Would it be Boston's way to win the next 3 games? Of course it wouldn't be. Of course not. We won't let it drag on for quite a while yet, just to put us all through the ringer, because that's what Boston United do, don't they? But to me, yeah, I think 48 is probably right. I think 50, you can open the champagne and celebrate being in the National League next season. I can't see any other teams around us picking up that many either. Like David said, we've all got to play each other at some points or near enough all the way around us. I think we've got two out of the next 8 in the top 10. Is that correct? I think that's the only 2, which is Gateshead.
I think so. Gateshead, Altrincham, who are 8th.
I think
that's it. I think.
Yeah, because
Sutton are 12.
So Sutton are 12. So and so we're also maybe playing. I like to make this point as well. We could be playing teams that are already on sunbeds in the summer and completely out of it. It's sometimes dangerous to play them because they've got nothing to lose or gain. But sometimes they can come down there and just take their minds off it a little bit and think, I don't fancy running as much today, do you chaps? Do you know what I mean? It sounds. Psychologically, football it could be won. You know what I mean? In that sense, some guys might be thinking that. You don't know with some teams. You don't know what Sutton side are we going to get on Saturday? We don't know, do we? They might come out all guns blazing. But they might come out like they're on the Costa del Sol already, which is what we really want. Let's all be honest. But 3 wins out the next 8 is so possible, Damo, and it could be the next. I hate to say it, it could be the next 3 games. Why couldn't it not be? Why could we not beat Sutton? Why could we not go down to Wealdstone and do them over? Aldershot's just done it.
Yep.
From 1-0 down to beat them 3-0, 3-1. So although Wealdstone are picking up points, football down there, they seem like the kind of team that if they have to take the lead as well. If they go into games, they must take leads in them. If not, then they're in trouble, aren't they? They don't seem to play that well or pick up many then. But then that would come on to the Shots game, which is the following Tuesday, which is an absolute epic journey on a Tuesday night, by the way. That's a long way to go on a Tuesday night.
Is.
But to think that a week on Tuesday, we could be sat here, potentially, I'm going to be the most optimistic as ever, 49 points. Really, couldn't it? You know what I mean? And that would make a great...
That would be amazing. That really would be.
But then again, like we said it earlier, would you have said we'd won 3 out of the last 4 away games? Never. No Boston fan would have said that we would have won any of them 3 away games that we did. I don't care who you are. So forever believe. but loads to achieve. And like I say, there's still, it's mad, isn't it? Like I say, 8 games, 24 points. That's a lot of points.
It is. And I mean, Sutton on Saturday, obviously we beat them down at their place. So, it's another chance to do another double over a team this season, to get 6 points against them, which is, David, it's going to be amazing, isn't it, if we can pull that off?
Yeah, another rare double. We took the scalp of York twice. We did Braintree over twice, and then we're eyeing up Sutton. I just think Graham Cochran has done an amazing job since he's come in. With not that many signings, I can't remember how many he's made. So he re-signed Nicholson and Sloggett. I think, and Jimmy Knowles, obviously.
And Jimmy Knowles, yes.
But
And I was surprised, actually, with Jimmy Knowles. He actually knew him from his Mansfield days as well. Apparently, Graham Coughlin was at Mansfield when Jimmy Knowles was. So he knew him from them days, which I didn't know about until recently, actually. Yeah.
I think Colin Teal was the other one, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, until I forgot. He's probably made a few more that I'm forgetting about. But when you look at it, it's probably only about 4 or 5, isn't it? It's not that many. He's not ripped it all up and started again like we were expecting him to, because we would thought, this team's not good enough to compete in this division. There's players in here that shouldn't be playing National League football. But he's turned it around. And just to be in this position, when a few weeks ago it was all doom and gloom, just for him to get us into this position with a chance, probably the best chance out the bottom 4 for us to stay up, is amazing. And no matter what's happened, I think we can hold our heads high that we've, it's took us a while to get started, but we're really giving it a good go now. But I'm gonna double down on it. I don't think we'll go down. I honestly think we'll get it done, and we'll get it done quite easily. I think we'll get it done in the next 6. I think the last 2 will be free hits. But the way that, if we carry on the way that we're playing, you could make an argument for that, couldn't you? So, I'm going to be another optimist, but I think most people would agree with me, to be perfectly honest with you. I can see us going to Maidenhead on that last day, having a drink, all in our fancy dress, not caring about anything. And they could all be relegated already.
That could be bad, couldn't it? All in our fancy dress, and we end up going down. I mean, how bad would that be? Insult to injury.
You know what? If I look stupid, I look stupid. But I don't care. I honestly believe. This could come back to bite me on the arse, but hey ho.
No, I hope you are right. I mean, we've got Southend United Saturday. We travel to Wealdstone next week. Then we've actually got a whole week off because we don't play on the Saturday the 5th because, of course, they're away because Aldershot are in the semi-final, I believe, of the FA Trophy. So we play that game on Tuesday, the 8th of April instead. So, I mean, that's going to be great, isn't it, for the team to, after all the travelling they've done. I know they're going to be going from Wealdstone a week off and then travelling to Aldershot, but it gives them that week off, maybe get themselves together again and ready for the Aldershot game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you ask Graham Cochran the same question, if he'll give you the same answer, to be honest with you, because if you've got momentum on your side, he'll probably want to play, wouldn't he?
That's true. Yeah.
Would a Saturday make much difference to a Tuesday off? I think they would have probably preferred a Tuesday off, to be honest with you, than Saturday. But it is what it is. It is how it's rolled, isn't it? But what a massive 3 games, and 3 games are coming up for us. Like you say, I could give you good reasons why Boston could pick up maximum 9 points from them. I could give you good reasons why Boston might come away with 5. I could see Boston coming away with 3. I don't know. I just don't know what it's going to be. But all I know is that if they apply themselves the way they have applied themselves at the majority of the games that we've covered in this podcast, barring the Hartlepool game, of course, any other performance like that, they can beat any one of them 3 sides, and they shouldn't think anything differently from that. I think I saw something cool the other day, and it came up on my thing. We're the last team to take anything from Barnet, and that was 10 games ago. In the last 10 games, they haven't lost. We were the only side to bring anything from it. You look back at that performance now. How much did that performance start this? Very much so. When you look back, it was a start. It was the first stepping stone, wasn't it? Okay, they played the majority of the half with 10 men, or majority of the game, or however it was. But the confidence boost they would have got from that, and then for that team as well, which are going to go up as champions, by the way. Sorry, York, it's not going to happen. They're going to go up. but the confidence, again, we say confidence and momentum are two massive things in football, and Boston's just got the wheels turning right at the right time. Out of all them teams down there, I can't believe I'm saying it, but 8 games, 24 points is, like David said, we could be well done by 6 games.
Yeah. And what I'm liking is the focus of the players as well. I mean, they're literally taking each game as it comes. It's like, right, they win that one. I mean, even the Jakemans, even like the last few games, even when they've won, they seem to, at the end of the game, they'll go and applaud the fans. But whereas last season and even the beginning of this season, if they got draws and whatever, the players will be going up to the town end and they'll be signing autographs. They'll be coming round signing all. But now they seem so focused that they'll go up, they'll applaud, but then they all come off together, and obviously in the changing room, I guess it's thinking about the next game. The focus is, well on it now, isn't it? And that's what it should be, Now every game, like we were saying at the beginning, is a cup final as such. And David, yeah, I mean it's all for the taking, isn't it?
It is all for the taking, and it's so exciting. What is it with us coming good late in the season? We did it last year, and we managed to go up with it, and we're doing it this year, and we're giving ourselves a real chance to stay in the division. Yeah, it's never boring here at Boston United, is it? We'll either do it the hard way, or we'll string our fans out for the whole year and then, pull off probably one of the greatest escape stories that the National League has ever seen. And Cochrane will go down in history for that. So, put your seatbelts on, get ready, because it's going to be a wild ride.
I think the Great Escape theme has got to be played at the Jakemans if we get out of it, hasn't it? It's got to be played over the tunnel at the Jakemans if we do it. Has to be. But quick question. We've got 21 points to play for from now. David, how many points do you reckon we'll get out of the 21?
So I said you're probably going to need about 8 or 9 to stay up, because I can't see teams doing that well. So we've got 8 games left. You have to take into account people that we play. Maidenhead seen as a 6-pointer. Wealdstone twice, they're 6-pointers. And there's other teams in and around it. Aldershot we could nick some points from. But then there's also teams that are going to be finished. If we carry on as we are and we don't fumble and mess it up, I reckon we could see ourselves on 52 points. I reckon we could get 12. And that's me being reserved. That's me being reserved as well.
That's good. I'll take that.
Yeah, 52 points, I reckon.
Right.
I'm not going to go for the full hog, so 55. I reckon we could get 55. I reckon that'd be a fantastic result. We get to 55. Yeah. I think 15 out of the last 24 would be some going, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. It'd be absolutely fantastic. But I see there's 5 games in there we could possibly win or pick up some draws from. So yeah, I think we might end up on a little bit. And then it'll be really interesting, chaps, when we come back and do our predictors, because we did our league predictors at the start of the season. Don't forget that, folks and listeners. We'll come back to that and see where we are on there. But 55 for me, I think that'll be more than enough. Like you say, I think 48, 49 will be enough. But I think we're just showing the right signs at the right times to turn up and play, aren't we? As long as we don't let the nerves get to us. Because we can be,
to me.
I'd rather them get to the fans than it does the players, to be honest with you. The players seem ice cool at the minute, though, don't they? They all just seem, like Damo said, super focused, one game at a time.
Yeah.
Mentality.
They can keep that going.
100%. And then just take the pressure off themselves and just go out and do it. Go out and express themselves. And like I said, we could be rolling up to Maidenhead in the stupidest costumes in the world. But will we care when we've got a beer in our hand and we're in the National League? No, we won't.
Exactly. Right. Well, as I say, it's been a year since we've been doing this podcast. It's been about a year now for the 3 of us. And it's been fantastic, and I just want to quickly thank the subscribers and anyone that listens when we bring one out. Sometimes it's been difficult to get together, but we've always done our best to try and do it, and obviously we're going to keep on going. But we've had some big highlights during the year. I'm going to tell you one of mine probably was when we had Graham Coughlin on, the manager, and I was well pleased about getting him on there. And then he called me Damo at the beginning of the interview. I was like, Oh, he knows Winnick now. Okay, cool. We've had some great guests as well. Obviously, Dino Stankovic as well. He's been on, and the passion that he showed when he was on, absolutely fantastic. But Stedders, have you got any highlights from the year?
I just think it's been fantastic. We've been able to get together and do this. To be honest with you, like I say, it's been a hell of a ride, hasn't it? So far, we've had great fun.
Yeah.
How can you not like talking about your football team? This is the point, isn't it? And that is what we all are. We're fans at heart. We're passionate at heart. Not everybody's going to agree with what we say either. This is the other point we tried to make on these, isn't it? You know what I mean? And that's what football's all about. It's about based on opinions. It's about based on what you think's right. We're not always right, and we won't always be right, but we just like to give fans that kind of and followers and listeners that kind of feel of where we think it's coming from. We're not, like I say, we're not always right, but we just hope that they enjoy it. Personal highlights have been fantastic. Probably it's got to be the trophy lift, isn't it, at the end of the season season with you guys there that evening. That was fantastic. What a great night that was,
That was actually, yes.
We'd potted all the way up till there, haven't we? And we toyed with the idea, we went to Scunthorpe. We thought we're going to get beat here. We didn't get beat there. And then we went to Brackley. We thought we're going to get beat here. We didn't get beat there. And then we ended up trophy together. So as a first year as a Boston United fan, it's been a hell of a roller coaster. But these next 10 games might make me turn even greyer than I already am. But whatever happens, we'll be still here next season to give these kind of views and these things over to the fans because we love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. And David, have you got any highlights?
Oh, well, it's just been great, hasn't it, really? It's, giving in the opportunity to speak about something important to myself and all of us and interview people that, I would have never really spoken to in the first place, and trying to learn about how all these different people, all share the same love, and that's for the football club. And, Graham, as a manager and how he works, and it's nice to see that we get that the club and himself have offered us an opportunity, and we've offered the opportunity to other people to ask questions directly to him. Yep. So I think we served as a platform for people to get more connected with the club. And then people like Steve Slater at Booster. You touched on Dino Stankovic. We've interviewed Joe Skelton, the vlogger that comes to Boston games sometimes.
And he came just the other night.
He did. I saw that video. There's some limbs in there. He's a quality lad. It was. I just think, we served a pretty good purpose, and we're doing a decent job, in my opinion. But obviously, if you don't think we are, let us know, because we're always going to be striving to improve. But no,
exactly.
I think we've had a good year. I think this is probably the best year that we could have started doing one, and it's still maintaining that course at the moment, isn't it? So it's going to be a hell of a ride, but I certainly love doing this, getting together regularly. It has been hard due to personal reasons and other things, but we roll along with it. We're gonna make it. And it's also, let's also not forget that this podcast was nominated for a national award, and we got into the top 4 when we were 5 or 6 months old. For a podcast of this size, at a club of this size, competing against Scunthorpe and Southend, and for us to come in the top 4 of a shortlisted 15 and the countless non-league podcasts that are about, surely it reflects that we're doing something right. So I'd like to thank the people that have supported us, and the people that initially nominated us, because I don't know who that is and I don't know who you were, but I thank you for putting our name.
Thank you.
And we managed to pull off a decent return. 4th place isn't bad for a podcast that's only been running for a year. So thank you to Non-League Bible and the people that voted for us. And I was well chuffed when that came out, because we all worked so hard and we put lots of work and effort into this. So it's nice to know that it's been recognised. So thank you. It's going to get better though, isn't it?
Yeah, here to that. And we're going to try and get more guests on. We're going to keep on bringing the podcast to you. And and I mean, if you want to sponsor, we'll give you a mention as well. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, we're open to that as well. So more than happy. So
can we be sponsored by Brad Nicholson Hairdresser, do you think?
Well, we could have a look into that. It's his mum, isn't it? So yeah, we'll get on to his mum and see what she can do. But just before we finish, though, Stedders, you've got a big charity match coming up, haven't you? At the Jakeman's Community Stadium in May, Sunday the 4th of May. Do you want to tell us more about it? So anyone that's interested?
Oh yeah, thanks, Damon, for just let me do a little go for this, mate. Yeah, it's all in for Metabolic UK. Basically, we're going to be playing for the Billy Slater Shield as well on the day. So it's going to be North Sea Camp prison staff against Manby Fat Social, at Boston United on the main pitch. So it's a massive thanks to the club for letting us on to do this, to Craig Singleton, to Chris Money as well, who's got some good links with the club because he works there as well. So it's taken some negotiations and some time, but we've managed to get there, which is fantastic. So yeah, massive day planned, as you can imagine, loads of pre-stuff going on. I don't want to give too much away because we are just doing like little reveals of people that will be there. But all I would say is for the kids, we'll go on for the kids. Boots the Bear will be there, so bring the kids along. We'll go along with that one. But yeah, loads going on for the day, and it's always raising awareness and funds for it. David's going to come down and do me a good gig as well. So you might see David, or at least hear David. We'll go with that on the day. So it's thank you to him. He's done all my graphics and that lot. Great team behind it as well. The Slater family, including Steve, have been well on board with it, which is fantastic as well for them. And just raising money and awareness for them, really. You know, the football really is the secondary part of it. The football match would happen anyway. It's more about having the day for Billy and for the charity and getting the community together, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? And again, like I say, it's thanks to the club, really, because without them, this would never happen.
Of course, absolutely, and obviously keep looking out on socials for any new drops and whatever, and obviously all that tickets and everything like that. And I believe you've got Joshua's football photos, who's going to be doing the photos. We can reveal that, can't we?
We can reveal that. He's been announced already, so that's fine. I've got my good mate Steve Brumpton coming to referee us as well. He's a good pal of mine. I've known Steve a lot of years. Fantastic referee at Lincolnshire FA level. He's going to come and do that. We've also announced that we've got a few sponsorships already lined up as well, which is fantastic. So people are already starting to invest in the game as well, which is brilliant. So yeah, loads more to come though in terms of announcements and things going on in a day. We're trying to make it a proper day. This is not just a turn up and watch a football match kind of day. We're talking loads of stuff pre and post match as well, giveaways, competitions, you name it, anything that we can do to just put a little few more quid in that kitty for the good cause that is Metabolic UK.
Fantastic, great cause. So if you can get along on the 4th of May, Sunday the 4th of May, get down to the Jakeman's Community Stadium. It's going to be a fantastic day. No doubt we'll mention it again before the day as well when we do another podcast. But that's about it for today. Thank you once again to David and to Stedders. Don't forget you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, or why not watch on YouTube. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Guys, thank you very much. 21 points to play for. Can we do it? Fingers crossed.
I think so.
Up the Pilgrims, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Up the Pilgrims, guys. Cheers. Thank you.
Up the Pilgrims.